If a man orders a hit in the streets, he's a gangster. But if a woman coordinates the logistics for an entire international drug corridor from a maximum security prison cell, she's a jefa. Let's say it's a Tuesday night in Guayaquil, Ecuador. You're watching the news when the screen flickers to life with footage of an entire TV station being taken hostage by masked gunmen. The country is in a state of internal armed conflict. The military is in the streets. The president has declared war on 22 different gangs. But when the dust settles and the police start raiding the operational centers of these groups, they aren't just finding hardened gunmen. They're finding that the people holding the ledger, managing the bribery of port officials, and directing the mules are women. You might think these are just the wives or girlfriends of the bosses, but look closer. With the top male leaders like Fito being extradited to the US or assassinated in turf wars, a power vacuum has opened. And stepping into that void is a new generation of queenpins who are more strategic, more silent, and often more dangerous than the men they replaced. So let me show you how an island of peace turned into the homicide capital of Latin America, and how the collapse of traditional cartel hierarchies led to the rise of Las Jefas. Let's dive into why Ecuador is currently the center of the global cocaine trade. For decades, Ecuador was known as the Island of Peace. Sandwiched between Colombia and Peru, the world's two largest coca producers, Ecuador was just a quiet transit point. But criminal organizations aren't stagnant, they evolve. As Colombia signed peace agreements and broke up its massive cartels, the trade didn't stop, it fragmented. Ecuador became an upgrade for the underworld. It uses the US dollar, making money laundering effortless. It has massive deep-water ports like Guayaquil, which act as a gateway to Europe and the US. For years, the gangs here were just low-level groups like Los Choneros. They were subcontractors for the big Mexican cartels. But once their legendary leader, Rasquiña, was murdered in 2020, the umbrella broke. The groups fractured into dozens of micro-gangs with names like Los Lobos, Los Tiguerones, and even the bizarrely named Ugly Women's Headquarters. In the absence of a strong central government, the prisons became the boardrooms of crime. But when the state started locking up every male leader they could find, they inadvertently created the perfect environment for a new kind of leader to emerge. There was a specific turning point: the Great Prison Massacres of 2021 to 2023. Thousands of male gang members were being slaughtered inside the walls of literal penitentiary. The traditional macho leadership was being wiped out in real time. This is where the role of women changed. Initially, they were the links to the outside world, visiting the prisons, carrying messages, and managing the extortion fees that families had to pay to keep their loved ones alive. But as more men were killed, these women moved from the visiting room to the control room. By 2024, intelligence reports began to identify women who weren't just supporting the gangs, they were architects. They realized that while the police were looking for men with tattoos and gold chains, a woman in a business suit or a mother at a grocery store could move millions in drug proceeds without a second glance. It is now 2025, and we are in the era of the financial queenpin. The business model has shifted from street brawling to logistics hacking. Las Jefas have mastered three specific areas that make them indispensable. The port hack. They coordinate with insiders and the shipping companies to hide cocaine in containers of bananas and shrimp. The extortion ledger. Women are increasingly running the protection rackets. They are the ones who collect the $25 fees from local shopkeepers, using their invisible status to move through neighborhoods unnoticed. The digital underworld. As we see in reports from late 2025, women are managing the encrypted communication networks that connect Ecuadorian street gangs to the Albanian mafia and Mexican cartels. There is investment in these female-led cells because they are low profile. While the men are showing off on TikTok with guns, the women are ensuring the product actually reaches the port. All of this has culminated in what most people see in the headlines today: a country at war with itself. By the end of 2025, Ecuador's homicide rate hit a record 52 per 100,000 inhabitants. The peak of this female leadership can be seen in the Ugly Women's Headquarters. a faction that reportedly managed entire sections of the prison system. They created a state within a state, where they decided who lived, who died, and how the drug money was distributed. Warlords are now recruiting young women specifically because they can bypass military checkpoints more easily. The Robin Hood narrative is used here too. These women often fund local soup kitchens or pay for school supplies in the slums of Duran, making themselves matriarchs of the community. But make no mistake, this isn't charity, this is branding. It's about ensuring the local community hides them when the military comes knocking. The world finally took notice when the violence began to affect international interests. In 2025, the extradition of the notorious drug kingpin Fito to the US sent shockwaves through the system. The US and European navies are now working directly with the Ecuadorian government to monitor the ports. They've realized that the face of the cartel has changed. They are no longer just looking for the men, they are looking for the financial architects. The biggest scare happened in late 2025, when a group of Jefas was linked to a plot to destabilize the national elections through targeted assassinations and port-wide strikes. It was a wake-up call. The queens weren't just running the money, they were playing politics. As we were researching this, I kept asking, why is it so hard to stop these women? The answer is the Matriarch Shield. First, societal bias. Police are still culturally less likely to suspect women of high-level violent crimes. Second, the fragmentation. These female-led cells are smaller and more cell-like, making them harder to map than the massive male-dominated gangs of the past. The fact is, while the military might win the street war against the gunmen, the logistics war being run by Las Jefas is a much harder battle. Ecuador's crisis isn't just about drugs. It's about a society where crime has become the only viable career path for everyone, men and women alike. So, while the world watches the men with the masks, the real power might be sitting right in front of us, unnoticed. I'll leave the ethical dilemma to you. Is this the ultimate glass ceiling being broken, or just the saddest chapter yet in Ecuador's history? Let me know in the comments.